This is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. Truman Capote. Stars and their roles. Transportation. Cats. The Founding Fathers. And finish the proverb. Capote was born Truman Streckfus Persons, September 30th, 1924, in this southern U.S. city. It's player one.
Yeah!
Right. Player one. She's the lead character in Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Player one. Good. Select. He won an Oscar for playing Truman in Capote. Here's what we wanted. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Player one. Capote invites the world's greatest detectives to his house for a contest in this 1976 film spoof. Here's what we were looking for. Murder by death. Player one. Capote gained fame with this otherworldly 1948 novel about a teenager in a crumbling southern mansion. Here's what we wanted. Other voices, other rooms. You get to pick again. She was magazine editor Miranda Priestley, who fiendishly wore Prada. Here's what we were looking for. Meryl Streep. He was Julian Kay, an American gigolo. Here's the correct response. Richard Gere. Please. In 2005, this actor walked the line as Johnny Cash. The correct response is Joaquin Phoenix. Please pick a... He was Charlie Chaplin in a 1992 biopic. The correct response is Robert Downey Jr. Player one. He was Heathcliff to Merle Oberon's Cathy in 1939's Wuthering Heights. Here's the correct response. Laurence Olivier. Please pick roofed cars on a freight train, or a roll of 12 in a dice game. It's player one. No. The correct response is boxcars. Please. All right, here with the clue is Jimmy.
The name of this vehicle, used on grave occasions, comes from Old French for long rake.
It's player one.
No.
No, that's not right. Here's the correct response. Hearse. Player one. During the Cold War, two different families escaped over the Berlin Wall using these lighter-than-air vehicles. It's player one. You are correct. Select. From 1985 to 2003, Milwaukee hosted a parade featuring dozens of these wagons from Baraboo. Here's what we were looking for. Circus wagons. Player one. If you're walking your baby back home in London, it won't be in a stroller, but in this four-letter synonym. Yes, player one? That's right. Way to go. Player one. The fact that a cat can land upon its feet without injury gave rise to the myth that cats have this many lives. Let's hear it, player one.
Yeah! Woo!
The Korat breed from Thailand is usually this color of some Olympic medals. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Please. The mass killing of cats in the 14th century helped spread this disease carried by rat fleas. Here's what we were looking for. Bubonic plague. Player one. Short-haired cats were derived from the Khafre cat, which was domesticated by this ancient civilization. Player one. Yes. Player one. This Asian-named cat is produced by mating Siamese and longhairs, and then selectively breeding them. Here's what we wanted. The Himalayan. You again. In early April of 1775, William Dawes, Samuel Prescott, and this man rode to warn patriots to move military stores from Concord. Okay, player one. Yes.
Yeah!
Select 3 years after writing the Declaration of Independence, he succeeded Patrick Henry as Virginia governor. It's player one. Correct. Select. On July 3rd, 1776, he wrote to his wife Abigail that the colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. Yes, player one? That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player one. And I'll hand it off to Jimmy.
A 1775 letter from this founding father to the Pennsylvania Journal is thought to have inspired the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Okay, player one. Correct. Player one. In public good, this pamphleteer called for Virginia to cede land needed to form a strong central government. Here's the correct response. Thomas Paine. Player one. Too many cooks. It's player one. No, sorry. Here's what we were looking for. Spoil the broth. You can't judge a book. Okay, player one. You got it. You again. It's the Daily Double. You are in first place. Player one, give us a wager. And the clue. Nothing ventured? You got it. Player one. He who laughs last. It's player one. Nope. Here's what we were looking for. Laughs best. Let's have a look at the $1,000 clue. Man cannot live. Yes, player one. Right. The Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Clues are worth $400 to $2,000 in these categories. The 1930s. African countries. Myths and legends. Did you plan it that way? Jazz musicians. And iPod. All right, as the Depression hit Europe, this figure in Belgium went from 5.4% in 1930 to 23.5% in 1932. It's player one. Right. You get W.H. Auden wrote of this Civil War-torn country, "History to the defeated may say alas, but cannot help nor pardon." Here's the correct response. Spain. You get to... Melvin Purvis gained fame, more than Hoover liked, as head of the FBI's office in this city. Here's the correct response. Chicago. In August of 1939, Germany signed a non-aggression pact with this nation. Player one? Hey, you're right. Player one. In 1932, he said Huey Long and Douglas MacArthur were the two most dangerous men in the country. Here's the correct response. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Please pick. In 2009, Jacob Zuma became this country's democratically elected president. We're talking about South Africa. Select. The FLN has dominated the political scene in this country since it won independence from France in 1962. Here's what we wanted. Algeria. Player one. Bioko, an island of this equatorial African republic, was once known as Fernando Poo. Here's the response we were looking for. Equatorial Guinea. Player one. The capital city of this Horn of Africa nation has the same name as the country. Here's the correct response. Djibouti. Festus Mogae is the president of this landlocked African republic once known as Bechuanaland. Here's the correct response. Botswana. Player one. The earliest ballads of this outlaw say that his activities took place in South Yorkshire, not Nottinghamshire. Let's hear it, player one. That's not right. The correct response is Robin Hood. In some legends, it's the influence of the full moon that changes a man into one of these, also called a lycanthrope. It's player one. You are correct.
Woo!
Select me to start us off.
According to Norse legend, to learn the secrets of the rune stones, this chief god hung himself from a tree.
Here's the correct response. Odin. Player one. This steel-driving man beat a steam drill in a race to make a railroad tunnel, but died with his hammer in his hand. Here's what we were looking for. John Henry. Player one. This hero of mythology cleaned the Augean stables by diverting the courses of two nearby rivers. Here's the response we were looking for. Hercules. Player one. Orbiting at about 67 million miles, it's the second planet from the Sun. Yes, player one? That is correct. Player one. Its moon, Ganymede, is the largest in the solar system. Yes, player one? Correct. You again. The least dense planet in the solar system. It would actually float if you could find a big enough tub to put it in. It's player one.
Yeah!
Select. Answer. One of the daily doubles. You are in the lead right now. What'll it be? Answer. In 2005, NASA experimented with a low-pressure greenhouse to grow plants on this carbon dioxide-rich planet. That's correct. You get to... In 1781, it became the first planet discovered in modern times. Yes, player one? No. The correct response is Uranus. Player one. His What a Wonderful World, recorded in 1967, wasn't a U.S. hit until used in the 1987 film Good Morning Vietnam. Here's what we wanted. Louis Armstrong. Player 1. Ray Brown, Percy Heath, and Charles Mingus were stand-up guys as masters of this instrument. Player 1. Nope. Sorry. Here's what we wanted. The bass. When Tommy Dorsey died in 1956, this older brother assumed leadership of the Dorsey Brothers Orchestra. The correct response is Jimmy Dorsey. Please. His quartet's 1959 LP, Time Out, featured the classic hit, Take 5. Here's what we wanted. Dave Brubeck. We return. Leon Bismarck Beiderbecke, a legendary cornet player of the 1920s, was known by this three-letter nickname. The correct response is Bix. Player 1. Chili name of the head of lettuce that's cut into quarters to make a wedge salad. It's Player 1. That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
You get. Let's get Sarah's assistance on this clue.
When graphing the equation y equals 2x plus 1, the line intersects the y-axis at 1. In general, the point where the line crosses is called the y-this.
Okay, Player 1. Right. Please. From the Latin for unable to speak, this three-syllable word means extremely childish. We're talking about infantile. Player 1. Meaning beyond memory, this type of time originally referred to the period before 1189 AD. Here's what we wanted. Immemorial. Here's the $2,000 clue. Answer? The second daily double. You are in the lead right now. Decide on your wager, Player 1. Here is your clue. This Austrian city's name is German for bridge over the Inn River. No, that's not right. The correct response is Innsbruck. You will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. So much depends on how you do in the Final Jeopardy category, which today is economics. What are you going to wager? Now it's time for the Final Jeopardy clue, and here it is. In 2007, this 18th century professor and writer became the first Scotsman to appear on an English banknote. Let's see your response. And that will lose you. Here's the correct response. Adam Smith.
Yeah!
Player 1, congratulations to you. Good game. Thank you so much for playing.
is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. Bible Heroes. Best Female Rock Vocal Grammys. States of the Union. Ike Speaks. Missing Links. And Elementary. At the burning bush, God told him he was the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. You get Goliath mocked him, saying, "Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves?" Okay, player one. Right. Select. In Luke, he is quoted as saying, "I indeed baptize you with water, but one mightier than I cometh." It's player one. Right. You again. When Jesus saw this tax collector and first gospel writer, he told him to follow me. Okay, player one. That's right. Way to go. Player one. In Judges, he said, "With the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men." Yes, player one. Yes. Player one, you pick again, please. $19.95. You ought to know. It's player one. Yes. Select again. 1994. Come to my window. Okay, player one. That's it. Player one. 1979. Hot Stuff. It's player one. Correct. We return. Answer. The Daily Double. You are currently in the lead. Answer this. 1981. Fire and Ice. Hey, you're right. You get to pick 2000. There goes the neighborhood. Yes, player one? Good.
Yeah! Woo!
You get to pick again, player one. Let's go over to Sarah.
This state's flag, featuring the Big Dipper, was designed by a 13-year-old Aleut boy.
It's player one. Correct. You get, with a population of about 120,000, Columbia is this state's most populous city. Yes, player one? You got it. You get Mississippi and it have the shortest coasts on the Gulf of Mexico, only about 50 miles apiece. Let's hear it, player one. That is correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1. This state has the highest average altitude of any state east of the Mississippi. Must be pretty mountainous. Yes, player 1? That's correct. Select again. Tears were shed when the Teddy Bear Museum in Naples in this state closed its doors forever in 2005. Player 1? Nice. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Eisenhower said, "No treaty or international agreement can contravene this document." Yes, player 1? Right you are. Player 1. Ike telegrammed that the mission of his Allied force was fulfilled at 0241 hours local time in this month, 1945. Player 1? That's right. Way to go. Player 1. Pick again. Of this man's contributions to major White House decisions, Ike said, "If you give me a week, I might think of one." It's player 1. You are correct. You get... In 1957, Ike used the full power of the United States to enforce integration at Central High in this city. Yes, player 1? Right.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1. Eisenhower said appointing him to the Supreme Court was the biggest damn fool mistake I ever made. Let's hear it, player 1. Correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1, you pick again, please. Write up your blank oop. Yes, player 1? That is correct. Player 1, Hi-O blank wedding anniversary. Let's hear it, player 1. That's right, way to go. Player 1, break the blank of America. Player 1? That's it. You again, player 1. Fall by the blank in. Let's hear it, player 1.
Yeah!
Please, news blank photography. Let's hear it, player 1.
Yeah!
Correct. You get to pick again, player 1. The Bible tells us of this element being beaten into plates, cut into wires, and worked into the clothing worn by Aaron. It's player 1. Good for you. Player 1. You. But this element, 238, doesn't stink. It powers pacemakers. It's player 1. That's correct. Player 1. I know Bernard Courtois discovered this element in 1811. Let's hear it, player 1. Correct. Player 1. The Kennedy Space Center has used this gas, atomic number 54, in high-intensity lights for night landings. It's player 1. Right. And the last clue for $1,000. This ductile, non-radioactive element has an atomic weight of 26.98. Yes, player 1? Good. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. From Page to Screen. When they were in high school. October 1st. Math terms. You are so foxy. And archipelagos. Let's get 69 years apart. Lillian Gish and Demi Moore got an A for effort for starring in films based on this classic novel. Let's hear it, player one.
Yeah!
That's correct. Player one. The film A&P is based on a story by this Rabbit Run author. Yes, player one? That's correct. You again. Oh, Rochester. William Hurt was in the 1996 version of this oft-filmed Bronte classic. Okay, player one. Correct. Select again. Marilyn Monroe longed to play Grushenka in the 1958 film of this Dostoevsky saga, but Maria Schell got the part. Yes, player one? That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Please. Fitzgerald didn't finish this novel, so screenwriter Harold Pinter had to come up with an ending for the 1976 film. Let's hear it, player one.
Yeah!
Right you are. Player one, back to you. He ran track at Skyline High in Oakland. Good practice for the role of Forrest Gump. Yes, player one?
Yeah!
Good. Select. As a teen in British Columbia, she said her goal was to be a California beach bum. She got her wish on Baywatch. Player one? Yep. To make extra money, she sometimes cleaned out the tour bus for her mom Naomi and sister Winona. It's player one.
Yeah!
Yes. Player one. As a high school basketball star in Irvington, New Jersey, this royal rapper led her team to 2 state championships. It's player one. Is correct. Please. He played quarterback for the Terrell High School Tigers before he won an Oscar for playing Ray Charles. Player one? Correct. Player one, back to you for our next selection. (1971). This complex opens near Orlando, Florida. Player one? You got it.
Yeah! Woo!
Player one. 1800. Spain cedes this large territory to France. Yes, player one? That's correct. You get 1961. This man hits his 61st homer of the season. Yes, player one? Right you are. Select 1880. John Philip Sousa becomes the leader of this military branch's band. Okay, player one. Good for you. You get to pick again. Answer.
Yeah!
The first of the 2 daily doubles. You are currently in the lead. The clue. 1970. 5 million people turn out in Cairo for his funeral. Good. Player 1, choose again. With a name meaning many angles, these shapes may or may not be convex. Player 1, yes. Player 1, let's go over to Sarah.
Two or more circles that have the same center point are said to be this, from the Latin for together center.
Okay, Player 1. Ooh, sorry. That's in. Here's what we were looking for. Concentric. Player 1. A pair of angles that add together to make a straight line are called this type of angle. It's Player 1. Sorry. Here's the response we were looking for. Supplementary. Player 1. Answer. The other daily double. You are in first place. All right, here's your clue. From the Greek for worthy, this kind of statement is also called a postulate. We return from the Latin for across. It's the property that says that if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. Okay, Player 1. Nope. Here's what we wanted. The transitive property. Player 1, choose again. In a practice routine for typists, this critter jumps over the lazy dog. Let's hear it, Player 1. Is correct. Player 1. J.J. Dickinson and M. Jeff Thompson were each called this Francis Marion nickname of the Confederacy. Okay, Player 1. Good. We return. Around 1650, George Fox founded this religious group. Yes, Player 1? Good. Player 1, choose again. It immediately precedes golf in the NATO phonetic radio alphabet. Here's what we wanted. Foxtrot. Player 1, pick again. The foxglove plant is the main source of this medicine, used as a stimulant in damaged heart tissue. Here's the correct response. Digitalis. You again, player one. Sitka is the largest city in this state's Alexander Archipelago. It's player one. No, sorry. Here's what we wanted. Alaska. Player one. In 1965, the Cook Islands became self-governing in free association with this country that provides for their defense. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player one. This Scottish archipelago is famous not only for its ponies, but also for a breed of dog. It's player one. Correct. This Pacific Island country is named for a British sea captain, not Happy Days producer Gary. Yes, player one? Good. And the $2,000 clue? This Portuguese archipelago once served as a stop for the treasure galleons returning to Spain from America. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Looks like you'll be moving on to Final Jeopardy after this commercial break. This is the Final Jeopardy category for today. Show business. So, what's your wager? Now, let's reveal the Final Jeopardy clue. The wings on this, created in 1948, represent the muse of art. The atom represents the electron of science. And your response? With that correct response, you will gain. This makes you our new champion, player one, so congratulations. Good game. Thank you so much for playing.